Hi everyone, welcome to WBBA-TV. My name is Alexis Holzer. I'm the Assistant Director for Economic Development at Washington State University. And this morning I have the pleasure of interviewing Karimah Sabar, who is the CEO at the Center for Drug Research and Development in Vancouver, BC. So thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
So first of all, happy Canada Day.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hear this big holiday, and your 20th wedding anniversary.
My 20th wedding anniversary is a great way to spend it.
Yeah, great. So first of all, we're just going to start off talking about the center. Sort of what are the goals and initiatives that you're working on?
Well, the Center for Drug Research and Development was set up officially in 2007, and our mandate and our goal is to basically de-risk promising discoveries coming from 52 academic institutions that we have affiliations with within Canada and around the world, to de-risk these technologies, validate them, add value to them, and get them to proof of concept in animals so that we can then make them investable by the private sector. So to de-risk and make investable.
And we talked a little bit about translational research.
Yes.
Can you expand on that?
Yes, and translational research is becoming really, really important, and of course it's the definition of translational research varies depending on whether you're talking about clinical or early stage, and I'm talking about in the context of early academic research from academic institutions. This research does need to be translated, validated. We have to be able to reproduce the data, and we have to advance it to a point where investors such as VCs or other biotech companies or large pharmas are interested in pooling them, or platform technologies are ready to be spun out into companies. Without that kind of advancement, without that kind of translation, I think we're often sort of shooting in the dark and shooting darts. And so we have an enormous amount of attrition. We look at many technologies and then validate the ones that have potential and are able to advance further. And so translation itself is becoming very important around the world. We have a consortia with NCATS from NIH and EACTRIS, the European Union consortium, and then TIA from Australia, and the four of us have formed this consortium to really address systemic issues around translation, which is so important to everybody in this drug development space.
So beyond the innovation of the technology, truly today some of the innovation is in the collaboration itself. These brand new partnerships that we're having to form to prevent wasting of money, to get technologies to the place where we can all benefit from that. So can you talk about a specific example of this kind of collaboration, maybe including a university, government, industry situation?
Oh, absolutely. So actually at the Center for Drug Research and Development, CDRD as we call it for short, everything we do is about collaboration. The whole model is partnership driven and based on bringing the strengths of the different pieces. So, it's academia, industry, government, and foundations as well that we brought to the table. So, one example I can give you is we have a wonderful relationship with the MS Society, and we put out an international call around progressive MS. We got a whole bunch of projects that were reviewed, triaged, and then 4 key projects identified from that, which will now advance together. They will be, the funding will be from MS Society, from our innovation fund partners, many of whom are industry partners such as GSK, Roche, and Pfizer, and J&J, Merck, and so forth. We would have further de-risking from other groups that are interested in supporting the project. So people select the projects they want to de-risk, and then we advance these projects till we get proof of concept in animals just shy of GLP tox. So this will be several partners, and everybody's dollars get carried much further. We have a 6 to 8 times leverage of everyone's investment in this, because in this early stage you're going to have a lot of attrition. So you want to make sure you're supporting supporting as many projects as you can, and then getting to the ones that do have legs to move further.
Interesting that you mentioned MS. That's a huge issue here in the Northwest and Washington.
Yes.
So bringing it a little bit closer to home, thinking about this I-5 corridor between Oregon, Washington, BC. We have OHSU that's just closed $1 billion fundraising campaign. In Washington, we have a lot of closing for, like Juno closing $1 billion for their company.
Right.
You know, how do you see this I-5 corridor, all these pieces coming together and working together here in the Northwest?
Well, you bring up a really good point. I think there's such a great opportunity to come together and collaborate, and really, you know, looking at some projects that sometimes several of us are working on, you know, similar things, to come together and really try and collaborate rather than duplicate things. You know, and I'll refer to another alliance that we formed, the Global Alliance of World Leading Drug Development Centers, where we have partners in Germany, in the UK, the Scripps Translational group based out of Florida, you know, Karolinska, a whole bunch of entities with us, and we led that formation of that alliance for that very reason, that we would look at things together, and whoever was more advanced in that, sometimes we would bring the other partners in. We'd connect PIs, scientists from these regions, and build you know, a larger program that had more likelihood of being successful. And it's, you know, the whole model is based on risk reward sharing. So it's based on contribution of different organizations and different partners, and everybody shares in the benefit of it. And I think, you know, I truly believe that more and more moving forward in the world of life sciences, and not only life sciences, in technology development, we're going to have to collaborate more, share expertise more, try not to duplicate, and really bring things to market and to patients faster by doing it that way.
So here at LSI&W, we have a lot of very established companies, but also a lot of startups. So what does the startup community look like in Canada? I know that we have a few here presenting.
Yes.
You know, how do you support that area, and is that exciting? And
it is exciting. So we are a national center, and as I mentioned to you, that we have 52 partnerships. So it's every major university and research institution in Canada, plus some international ones. So everybody from UBC to McGill and in between, and then internationally we work with UCSF, with University of Oxford, with Cape Town University, Sydney, Melbourne, and so forth. And the idea is that you get the best projects that come from them. You look at these, you de-risk these, and then you advance them. And you form companies, and it doesn't matter where the companies are formed. They don't all have to be formed in Canada, they can be formed anywhere. But interestingly enough, even folks from University of Tokyo have said they prefer the companies to be started up in North America because it's easier to get them started and moving. And then, you know, they participate in that. So what we're doing is supporting the formation of these companies, and we have another arm to our organization called CDRD Ventures Inc. That's our commercial arm, and its role is to monetize the assets. So whether it's have a license, form a new co, or do co-development right through to the clinic, depending what is best for the technology. So we're supporting all of these Canadian institutions to do that. Once the companies are formed, we then have built about a year and a half ago an accelerator called Accelerex, and that's a national accelerator. It has funding from the government, it has funding from BDC, our business development bank in Canada, and then we bring in other venture partners such as, you know, Lumira and others, and we'll be looking at all kinds of venture groups from all over the world, and particularly from the US. So this would be then open to all the companies across Canada.
excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I would be very remiss if I did not mention that you are hosting our Women to Watch Awards today at lunch. So I'd love to, you know, hear why or how you got into this space as a woman. How are you supporting other women in this space, and why is it that and so important?
It's very important to me. You know, I don't want to date myself, but you know, I've been in the life sciences area for about 35 years. You know, pretty much from when I graduated, I was interested in the business side of drug development. And as you know, I don't believe in sort of affirmative action and things like that. But it has been an uphill climb for women for many reasons. Some that are due to our own, situations, but others, it's been a tough pathway. And I really want to enable the so many women that I now meet, brilliant women who are in the life sciences to advance their careers, who want to succeed either in the scientific pathway or on the business side. And so to hear my path and my journey, you'll have to come to that luncheon, and because it's a long story. But it's something I'm very passionate about, and I want to actually encourage even kids at school and young girls at school to take science and to be driven by science and technology. There still is an imbalance there. So right the way from there to women who can be CEOs and be at board tables, involved in defining policy.
Yeah. Well, we couldn't end the interview any better than that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we'll see you again at lunch.
Yes, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. It was. So this has been Karimah Sabar from the Center for Drug Research and Development, and I am Alexis Holzer with WBBA-TV. Thank you.